the day, you don't need validation to love yourself from other. At least you don't need validation from other people to learn how to love yourself. Hey babes,
I'm Madeline.
and I'm Deja,
and welcome back to the Elegance Exchange. So today's topic is a fun one. It's something that I think a lot of people need clarification on. And it's confidence versus ego. Some people tend to think that they're the same thing. They are definitely not.
And if you get them mixed up, it can cause a lot of
drama
and damaging self-image, if anything.
Oh yeah. I think a lot of people will see a confident person and automatically assume that they're egotistical just because they're confident, which is not the case, as much as we would like to think that it is. And I think this is something that I've definitely been called.
I think that's...
Not the silence.
No! I think it's something that, like, everyone... Like, if you're trying to be more confident and you're really putting yourself out there, people are going to begin to think that, oh,
Absolutely.
She's full of herself at this point.
Right. And oftentimes, it's when you go through that self-improvement phase, and it's when you start to change yourself, and the people from your past kind of see how you've changed, and they oftentimes think it's for the worst because they don't fit into your life anymore. So, for example, in high school, I was very people-pleasery. Anybody could, ask me to do something, and I'd say absolutely, and I'd let them walk all over me. And then now, it's like, if I don't feel comfortable doing something, I'm not going to do it. Or if, I'm really not feeling it that day, and I really can't do it, I'm not going to do it. And that's not to say, I will never help somebody or do anything. I'm still very nice, but I just know my boundaries and I know my respect.
And that's a really, really big thing with confidence, because with confidence, you know what you deserve based on the things that you've done in the past, working up towards it.
Right.
So with ego, you automatically assume that you deserve all this stuff. You expect everyone to you expect the world just to revolve around you because you feel like it does. Exactly.
Confidence is very much built upon your experiences and the things that you have dealt with and overcome. Say you worked really hard for a job and you got that job, you deserve it. Whereas ego is automatically going into the situation assuming, oh, I'm going to get this job just because I'm me and I automatically deserve it. You don't deserve anything in this world. As harsh as that sounds, you don't deserve it.
You have to work for it.
You have to work for it, absolutely.
And that's another big thing. Like, my mom's telling me, if everything was easy, everyone would have it. But you have to work for it. And it's always the people that don't work for things that look at other people that do work for stuff and
tear them down.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is.
Being egotistical is so loud, whereas confidence is quiet. And there's a difference between hyping yourself up and coming off as egotistical, right? Because if you look good, you can say, oh, I look good today, But if you're like, oh my god, I look so good and everybody around me looks awful.
Or going up to someone, or me going up to Madeline and be like, Madeline, don't I look really, really good today? I look really good. It's that seeking other validation. With confidence, you don't have to seek validation from other people. But with that ego boost, you just expect people to come and shower you with compliments, and then you
bow
get upset.
Down at your feet. And you also deserve to get validation. If you have worked for, your body, if you have worked for your looks, then it is totally okay to want a compliment every now and again, especially from your friends, your family. It's totally normal. It's almost like, somebody loves you, you want to hear, I love you, just like if you're friends with somebody, you want to hear, I appreciate you, I think you are a great person,
And even working towards, that body, for example, if you're going to the gym all the time and you're really pushing yourself to go and you're starting to see change, you'd want people to be like, oh wow, you look great.
Yeah.
I can tell you've been going to the gym, you look awesome.
Right, accept that compliment. That's something that I think a lot of people are bad at. I know I am. My friends have clocked me on this. They've been like, you don't accept compliments. So you just have to accept it, and you have to understand that if you have worked for it, you deserve it.
Accept it, but don't expect it. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good one. Confidence is so different, especially if you are in a leadership position. This is something that I find so ironic and so funny, but it's if you are in a leadership position, you are working towards helping, your team, your coworkers, your whatever, you're working towards helping them, you are basically their servant. Let's be so real. You are constantly doing things to improve their lives and to help them. It should not be that they are doing things to make you better, to hype you up, to, you know, make you feel good about yourself. No, you are there to help them. You were put in that position to help them. Sometimes, some people get confused and they think that just because they got put in a leadership role means that they automatically deserve it and that they automatically get all the validation they need. They get to take charge and do everything. It's finding that balance.
I think confidence, I think leadership, if anything, especially like those leadership positions, I think that really does bring out
A lot.
who's confident and then like who expects it. My biggest thing, like looking back in high school, like when you joined a club or when you were in a like a team or something, my biggest thing was that like I could not stand people that were given a leadership position and then they immediately expected you
To respect them.
to respect them. Exactly. I could not stand those type of people that were leaders. But then you have like actual leaders that are, doing their best to reach out to you and trying to help you in any ways that they can, and they're trying to earn your respect. It's not the other way around.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, if you're ever thrown in a leadership position, there are going to be things that you regret doing or you regret saying, or, there are actions that you're going to regret. But at the end of the day, you have to know that, your confidence is going to come through. You have to put others above yourself. And that's something that's so hard. And I know that's a little off topic, so sorry about that. But truly, confidence stands out, and ego is, I don't know, it's just, you can always tell a little bit of a difference.
And like we said, there is a difference between, loving yourself, like learning to love yourself and working on yourself and, being proud of yourself, and then, trying to be better and expecting validation from other people and thinking that, you're around, the world revolves around you.
Yeah, and for example, I think, it's very easy for people to look on the outside and see you as egotistical. People would probably think that we're egotistical for starting a podcast and giving advice. But the truth is, most of the time we're doing it to try and help other people. We are not doing it because we think we know everything. We think we are the best people in the whole entire world. That's not the truth. We're still learning as much as everybody else. We are just kind of documenting what we're going through and how we, dealt with it.
And I'm very confident with our podcast because we know that it's meant to help people.
Right.
Now, if we were on this podcast talking about how good we were as people and how,
Yeah.
everyone is terrible and then how,
That's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Being confident is knowing when you are right, but also knowing when you are wrong.
And admitting that you're wrong.
Right. There have been so many times in my life where in the moment, I thought I was right and I thought I was doing the right thing, but then looking back, I'm like, okay, I could have handled this in a much different way. I could have done this, this, and this. And some things I was right and some things I was wrong. That's knowing who you are as a person and being confident in that.
And I think the way that people look at each other in perspective with confidence and ego is very, very interesting itself. Because, like, for instance, if you're confident, if you're confident in yourself and you see other people, you're like, oh yeah, like those are my friends, like those are people that I know. But then like egotistical people are like, oh, those are people that know me, like those are
It's
people.
my fan club.
Exactly, like those are my followers. Like
It's my posse. Like, no.
exactly.
Like, they are
Everyone
your
wants to
friends.
be like me, you know?
Yeah. It's just, there's always a difference, and sometimes, I don't know, I always think some people think that this mentality that I have is kind of like, oh, like, yikes. But honestly, when people start seeing you as almost egotistical, but they don't know you, they see it from an outside, that kind of tells me that, okay, I'm a little, like, I'm on the path of, like, confidence. I'm on the path of becoming who I need to be because, like we said, confidence gets mistaken as being egotistical from the outside because they don't know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But having that confidence in yourself and knowing that, okay, I'm not being egotistical, I just know who I am, and
You know your self-worth.
yeah, exactly, because you've worked to get that self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I expect it, it's, I've worked for it, I deserve it. So yeah, it's just something that the lines can get so faded on.
And the people that are so quick to call someone else egotistical are usually the ones that don't have confidence in themselves. So
Right.
it's usually just a reflection of the person that they are.
They're the most insecure, and oftentimes they're the ones that are super unhappy in their life, but they're not taking the actions to change themselves, and they're not taking the actions to become who they want to be. And you just have to understand that and be confident within yourself and know that, they might think that about you, but it's okay. You don't, there was a quote that I saw, and I'm trying to remember it, but it was, confidence is not walking into a room thinking that everybody, worships the ground you walk on. Confidence is walking into a room and knowing that if nobody in that room likes you, then you're totally okay. I mean, that's a great point because you were so confident in yourself, you don't need that external validation from other people. Like, yes, it's nice to know that, like, you're liked, you're wanted, but you don't need to have it in order to thrive and survive.
Exactly. And I think that's a pretty good way for people to look at things. Like, you don't, at the end of the day, you don't need validation to love yourself from other, at least you don't need validation from other people to learn how to love yourself.
Exactly. Just be content in who you are and you, and, always try to let that outside noise be gone.
Simmer down. You know who you are as a person. You know the things that you've done.
So,
and you know what you deserve. So,
yeah. But remember that you have to work you have to work for what you deserve. If that makes sense.
You can't expect it.
Exactly. So with that being said, I think that is all we have. Hopefully it wasn't too repetitive. But sometimes I think we need that, like, little mental check, like, okay,
are you, like, ask yourself, like, are you confident, or are you kind of
so if
letting it get to you?
If you feel also a little called out from this episode, maybe that's time to take a second to reflect. Okay, maybe I'm coming off as egotistical because I'm expecting these things when I haven't worked for them.
Hopefully, after watching this, maybe you can reflect where you're fitting in and maybe move to a different, make
part of your life.
Exactly.
Why were you pointing at me? No, I'm kidding. Anyhow, sorry, our humor is coming through on this podcast today. But with that being said, I think that's pretty much all we have.
I think so too.
So with that, we are on a bunch of different social medias.
We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. Our biggest ones are on TikTok and TikTok and YouTube. And we're definitely on those all the time. So feel free to leave a comment, a like, a recommendation of what you'd like to hear next, or maybe even like just some feedback.
Truly, it means a lot to us, and we do read them, and we love it because we feel like we get to connect a little bit. Sorry, there's like a phone. We feel like we get to connect with you a little bit. So yeah. All right. That being said, we love you.
Bye, babes.